It's a phrase we've all heard, the oldest profession. These three words are often used casually, sometimes with a smirk, sometimes with a sigh of resignation. But what do they really mean? They suggest something fundamental about human society, something that's been with us since, well, the very beginning. It implies that as long as there has been civilization, there has been the exchange of sex for money or goods. This idea positions prostitution not as a modern problem or a recent social deviation, but as an enduring, almost elemental part of our collective history. It's a concept that is both simple and profoundly complex, a label that hints at a story far deeper and more intricate than the phrase itself suggests. This label isn't just a throwaway line, it forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth about human needs, power dynamics, and social structures. It asks us to look past our modern-day judgments and consider a time before our current laws and moral codes were established. The very idea that prostitution is as old as farming or building cities suggests that it has served some kind of function, however controversial, throughout history. It has adapted and survived through empires, religions, and revolutions. Understanding why it has persisted for so long is the first step in understanding the multifaceted nature of this practice, which has been simultaneously condemned and tolerated, hidden away and yet ever present in the story of humanity. The claim is not without its debates, of course. Some historians might argue that other roles like that of the shaman or the storyteller could also vie for the title of the oldest profession. Yet the persistence of this specific label for prostitution speaks volumes. It captures the public imagination because it touches upon universal themes of desire, survival, and commerce. It connects the distant past to the present in a direct and often unsettling way. When we say these words, we are acknowledging, whether we realize it or not, a continuous thread that runs through nearly every culture and every era we know of. It's a thread woven into the fabric of our cities, our laws, and our most private lives. In this journey, we will unpack that cliché. We will go beyond the simple phrase to explore the reality behind it. We will investigate the earliest evidence we have of this practice, from ancient legal codes to religious rituals. Our goal is to see if this famous title holds up to scrutiny. Is prostitution truly the oldest profession? Or is the label itself a product of history, a way of framing a complex human interaction in a way that is easy to understand but ultimately incomplete? By digging into the past, we can begin to see how this profession emerged, how it was viewed by our ancestors, and why it has remained such a powerful and contentious part of the human experience for millennia. Prostitution is often reduced to a simple act, the exchange of a service for payment. But to see it only in these terms is to miss the vast and complicated story it tells about the societies in which it exists. Throughout history, the status and regulation of sex work have acted as a mirror, reflecting a culture's deepest anxieties and beliefs. It reveals so much about attitudes towards women, the roles of men, the nature of marriage, and the power of religion. When a society decides who is allowed to sell sex, who is allowed to buy it, and where it can happen, it is making a profound statement about its own values, its fears, and its definition of morality. Consider, for example, how the treatment of sex workers has changed over time. In some ancient cultures, certain forms of prostitution were integrated into religious ceremonies, with practitioners holding a respected, if specific, role in the community. In other eras, sex workers were ostracized, forced to wear distinctive clothing, and confined to specific districts, literally pushed to the margins of society. These shifting attitudes are rarely about the act of sex itself. Instead, they are about control, social order, and the enforcement of patriarchal or religious norms. By studying prostitution, we are not just studying a profession, we are studying the societies that have tried to define and contain it. The very existence of prostitution also raises fundamental questions about economics and survival. For many individuals throughout history and still today, entering sex work has been a decision driven by a lack of other viable options. It is a story of poverty, of social upheaval, of war, and of women and men trying to secure a future for themselves or their families in a world that offers them few alternatives. To ignore this economic reality is to ignore a crucial part of the narrative. The profession often thrives in places of great inequality, where wealth and poverty exist side by side, creating a market born out of desperation as much as desire. Therefore, as we move through this history, we must look beyond the bedroom or the brothel. We must look at the laws being written in parliamentary halls, the sermons being delivered from pulpits, and the economic policies that shape the lives of the poor. Prostitution is a phenomenon that touches upon law, religion, economics, and public health. It is a lens through which we can view the broader historical landscape. It is a story not just about sex, but about power, vulnerability, and the enduring struggle for agency in a world that has often sought to deny it. It is a complex social mirror, and by looking into it, we can see a reflection of ourselves. If you found this video insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.